Hey, what's up guys? Chris Jr. here for Chris Core Productions. Today I want to take a look at how we can create dimension, separation, and story with color by using color gels. Now before we jump into our practical example that we just saw in the beginning, I want to do a little bit of theory by introducing someone to you that the International Cinematographers Guild judged as one of history's 10 most influential cinematographers. So today we're taking a look at Vittorio Storaro's work, and mainly just because he's the best example of just how far you can take your creativity in terms of color choices in your film. Now the way that Storaro usually works is that he brings out the heart of the story through lighting. So he brings motifs and recurring themes and visually represents them with color. So you can see how he's associating these different colors to particular emotions, particular tones that need to be set in certain scenes of the movie. But adding meaning to your color is something that's sort of arbitrary. It's not really set in stone of what a color is supposed to make you feel like, of what a color actually means. Honestly, depending on the type of cultural background that you have as a viewer, you might interpret those colors in different ways. So for example, he will attach a certain meaning to a color, a certain emotion. Now, even though Apocalypse Now may seem like a pretty ambiguous film, it's actually centered around the idea of dehumanization and exploring one's consciousness through sanity and insanity. And Vittorio Storaro actually represents this with the color spectrum. But this is all very subjective, and for example, in another movie that he made, The Last Emperor, the color association is completely different, and that's because he wanted to adhere more to Chinese culture and their perception and meaning behind those colors. It's really whatever you want it to be, and whatever your story and aesthetically what your scene requires. So you can have different meanings of different colors from story to story, and even from scene to scene. You know, red could not represent China and Chinese marriage at all. It could represent danger and blood. Which one of these boxes will bleed? So for example, you can even represent a character or a specific prop with a reoccurring color. Storaro's intricate color philosophy is largely inspired by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, if that's how you say that name. And he has a color theory on how different colors can actually affect us psychologically, to react differently, and to even perceive situations in a different way. So don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that every single one of the colors in your shot needs to have a particular meaning, but honestly a good start would be to look at color as a storytelling device. Just as much as music or the way you frame up a shot to really enhance the tone and mood of a scene, you can use colors the same exact way.
We made it in here. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna go over here.
Now in our practical example, it's less about meaning and more about separating your subject and adding a visual interest to the shot. Now obviously you can see the red in this shot as a way of representing danger, a way of representing passion, which could definitely play a role in how you're seeing this image, but mainly I use it to add some visual interest and add a little bit of separation between our subject and the background. Because when we first arrived in this location, there was just a bunch of light spilling in from the outside and nothing else, creating a pretty flat and even look, which was a little bit boring.
Yeah, this has potential. This has potential.
So the way I lit this is by using one light with a gel, a red colored gel, and I placed my aperture LED light on top of the stairs, shining down on our subject. And this alone was enough to add a little bit of a visual interest to the scene, and having two colors mix, which is the red coming from the aperture light and the daylight balance light coming from outside. Now I did tweak my white balance just a little bit so that the daylight coming in from the outside would read as slightly greenish, since for this type of environment it's really grungy, really run down, and really urban, so that type of color combination felt right. Now red doesn't really make sense too much for this type of location. I mean, you really don't have a practical source that is letting us know where this red light is coming from, but it kind of works because of the brick wall that we have on the left side. So maybe it makes sense for there to be a brick wall somewhere off camera that's reflecting some sunlight onto our subject, and that's what's possibly causing this overall red light. And if you're still trying to get comfortable with lighting, understand that there's a ton of possibilities out there, not just by how you place the lights and the quality of the light, but also the color of the light. And hopefully, you know, by using Vittorio Storaro's work as inspiration and other sources, and just really by experimenting, you can get some pretty interesting looks that can really support the story, and again, some of those underlying themes and motifs of that story.
These are brand new.
All you gotta do is just walk on these little things. And you go through here.
this is more of a start. There's definitely a ton of great sources. There's actually a book that I own called The Book of Symbols, which explores just symbols from different cultures, different parts of the world, and it's very interesting, and there's a whole section on colors. So I really recommend you guys check out that book. I'll leave a link in the description. And again, there's so much material that you can find out there on different meanings that you can associate with colors. This video was just a start to show you just how subconsciously effective you can be in your films with something as simple as color. So, alright guys, that is it for this video, and I really hope you enjoyed it and you learned something from it. So I'll definitely be sharing some more lighting tips soon, and I wanted to take this time to thank so much Maria Garcia, the model in these photos. She was cool enough to trespass in these places with me and sit on a random homeless person's chair, and she was super cool about all of that.
And ooh, she did not look happy. That was, I don't know if I like that look.
So definitely check her out on Instagram, where you can see more of her modeling work and her personal work. And follow me on Instagram to see the rest of the photos from this photo set, as well as a bunch of upcoming photography work and behind the scenes pictures that I'll be posting on that account. Alright guys, my name is Chris Chirini for Chris Corp Productions, and I will see you next week.
There you go. Alright, so I'll give you your shoes.
Thank you.